Moringa really is a superfood for diabetes and all its complications. There's about a dozen human trials that have been done and more are in line at the moment. And there are dozens and dozens of animal and cell studies which support exactly what they're showing in the human studies. It starts with understanding a bit about diabetes. And without any doubt, diabetes type 2, which we're talking about here, diabetes type 2 is a diet and lifestyle phenomena. It used to be a disease of the rich and wealthy 100 years ago. Now it's a disease of everybody because of our diet and lifestyle. And essentially what it is, we've got elevated levels of sugar and the insulin is no longer able to balance it out. Insulin normally takes the sugar and puts it into the cells, into the muscle cells in particular, where it can get out of the blood and it can be used for energy. But the insulin's no longer working effectively, and as a result, you get sugar spikes and elevated blood sugar levels. And those elevated blood sugar levels then lead to what's called glycation. And glycation, the way I like to say it is it kind of makes it sticky. And it makes these AGEs, advanced glycation end products. You've probably heard those terms because they're often referred to in all of the literature. And these sticky glycation products, they stick to the proteins like your hemoglobin. And some people will test and you'll see the results and they'll say, oh, there's H1AC. That is glycated hemoglobin. It's sticky hemoglobin. But it also sticks to immune molecules and all molecules literally in your blood, even your fats, your DNA, and so on. So it's causing, the best way to describe it is a stickiness in there and nothing can work effectively. What it tends to do though is it causes damage, and that damage is caused by inflammation and oxidation. I've talked extensively on inflammation and oxidation, how to reverse it, and now Moringa is one that really is effective in reversing it, particularly with diabetes type 2. So inflammation and oxidation, the cornerstone of chronic illness. And as a result of this inflammation and oxidation, we've got all those metabolic complications, kidney, liver, eye problems, vascular, immune, and pancreatic problems as a result. Now, we have a choice. Diabetes is the disease of choice. You can actually choose to reverse diabetes. Yes, there are plenty of studies for the last 30 years show you can reverse diabetes type 2. You can choose to maintain what you're doing and hope you don't have complications, or allow it to get worse and you will get the complications. There is no miracle drug, but there are changes in our diet and lifestyle, and without a doubt, Moringa is an important part of those changes in our lifestyle. And what Moringa does is literally, it blocks the sugar digestion. So if you're consuming foods with sugar in it, might be bread or rice, or it might be sugary foods or any processed foods, literally lead to increases in sugar spikes. It stops the digestion of it, and so it actually can't get into the blood as it is and absorb and increase the sugar spikes, which is fantastic. It makes it hypoglycemia. It stops the sugar going in and actually works with other foods to stop their sugar causing a sugar spike. It also increases the blood sugar uptake in the cells. So if the sugar gets into the blood, then it causes the cells, the muscle cells in particular, to open up a little bit and listen to the insulin and get rid of that sugar out of the blood. So what we're really after is getting rid of the sugar out of the blood. And that stops the glycation, the AGEs, from being sticky and causing the problems. It also decreases inflammation. So if there is any damage done from inflammation and oxidation, it stops that. And it has these potent effects on many, many conditions. Stops oxidation, and the great thing is it also repairs damaged tissue. As I'll show you in a moment, it actually repairs pancreatic tissue, kidney tissue, and so on, that has been vascular tissue which has been damaged as a result of the AGEs, of the glycation products. Why it does this primarily is really simple. It's probably the most nutrient-dense plant on land. And as a result of that, it has lots and lots of benefits. It's got potassium, calcium, magnesium, and iron. They're the minerals which are essential for all of it. Most of us are mineral deficient. So having this can make a big dent in your nutrient deficiency. But on top of that, it's rich in vitamin A, B, C. It's rich in protein. The dried powder of Moringa is 30% protein. It's almost the perfect food, and that's what's great about it. It's actually a food, and it's used globally as a food. And in fact, it's been used in a number of countries stave off starvation as a result of its nutrient density, the quality of the ingredients in it. And it's also got a whole group of these, what I call polyphenols. And these are antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and they're the ones that do a lot of the sugar balancing. There are more than 400 plants that have been identified that are effective in managing diabetes, lowering blood sugar and improving the metabolic complications. What makes Moringa so unique though is the diverse impacts it has on all of the aspects of diabetes type 2. And if you look at it, it lowers blood sugar levels, so it's hypoglycemic. It does that because it's got fiber, it's rich in fiber, which is good for your health and good for the gut. It's also got chemicals in it which inhibit digestion of starch. And these polyphenols, these big chemicals, these big molecules, block the enzymes that break down starch into sugar, so it can't actually be absorbed as sugar. It's a great situation. There's also molecules in there which slow intestinal absorption of sugar. So if it is converted, if there is sugar in there, then it's actually slower in terms of getting into the blood, which gives you, instead of that peak and the rapid rise in sugar, much more regulated and controlled. It stimulates insulin secretion, so it's telling your pancreas, get some insulin out there, but at the same time, it's also increasing the cellular uptake of sugar. So it says to the cells, open up, because here comes the sugar, because the insulin is signaling it. And then as a result of all of these, it has a dramatic effect on blood sugar levels, the single most important driving force in diabetes type 2. And the studies show in animal studies that it reduces it from 380 to 145%, about a 65 or so % reduction in blood sugar levels. Wow, that's pretty intense, isn't it? And to imagine that this is a food that you can grow in your own backyard, you can get it as a supplement, but it's not a drug. In fact, it performs pretty well the same as metformin, the pharmaceutical treatment which most people get when they've got diabetes, but much fewer side effects. And then when you look what else it does, it protects and restores liver cells and tissue, pancreatic cells and tissue, and kidney cells and tissues, which are some of the first organs where damage is done as a result of complications to do with diabetes. It decreases inflammation, oxidation, but it doesn't just add antioxidants in there, it actually stimulates the body's own production, the cell's own production of antioxidants as well. So it's a win-win situation. It decreases glycation, which I've already mentioned, and the production of these sticky agents, the advanced glycation end products. And then it lowers the LDL cholesterol, which is the one that becomes oxidized and damaged as a result. That's the indicator of cardiovascular risk factors, the oxidized LDL. And of course, finally, it decreases and repairs the metabolic complications to do with diabetes. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? And when you look at these, I mean, it decreases obesity, it decreases uric acid, which is associated with gout. It decreases hypertension, high blood pressure, vascular damage, which often leads to tissue damage down in the lower limbs or the outer extremities that are ultimately amputated off if you don't reverse diabetes. Neuropathy, which is the nerve damage, it decreases eye complications such as retinopathy and cataract associated with diabetes. It increases the wound healing, decreases infections, and it also, here's the side benefit, increases men's sexual health. Now, I've already got a full video just on Moringa and men's sexual health, so guys, check that one out. That's really important to you because at all levels of sexual health, right through from not working, right through to fertility, improving fertility. And then finally, an increase in gut health, which, by the way, as you'll see in the other videos that I've got, is a major driver of diabetes as well. So one of the ways at which you want to tackle diabetes is a multifactorial way. First of all, with Moringa, that's the single simplest thing. Then improve gut health. Then without a doubt whatsoever, you need to look at your total diet and restricting, getting off, stopping those processed foods, those white processed foods. stopping those, getting on nutrient-dense food. Again, I've got lots of videos on that type of information. You really do need to do that. Then build into that, without any doubt, intermittent fasting. Now, intermittent fasting is really simple. It just means not eating for such a long period during that day. And again, there's videos on that. But if you want to take it the simplest way, there's have a 7-hour window which you eat during the day, and the rest of the day and night you don't eat. You don't snack and you don't eat. You'll actually find it'll give you lots of energy and improve your metabolic processes and be a major player in reversing diabetes. And the final part of that is increase your physical activity. There is no doubt about it. And different exercises, I'll have a video up on this as well. Different exercises work different way, but at the simplest level, just get out and walk more. If you can walk 400 meters, do. If you can walk more, do. Just keep walking. That's the single best strategy in terms of getting started in this program to reverse diabetes. And the final question that you're probably asking is, how much can I take of this Moringa? Well, we're talking about the dry leaf. And the dry leaf, I normally tell people to have about 2 grams to start with, because it's pretty strong. You have to get used to it. You mix it in. It can be cooked in, you can put in with soups. You can have it anyway. It's virtually a food. And then most of the studies on humans talk about 20 grams a day. And then they go up to 100 grams a day. And don't worry, it's not poisonous. Remember, it's a little bit like concentrated spinach. And you go, oh, yuck, spinach. Well, spinach is another great one that'll help you. But 100 grams a day. And in the studies, they found that 1,000 grams a day is still fine, but they recommend around about 20. So start there. And this is the starting point for you to reverse diabetes. Check out all our other videos. Subscribe below, because we'll have lots more information, and share it with your friends.